What you're seeing here is an Emery Worldwide DC-8, a very reliable cargo aircraft and very fun hand-flying experience. It's quite a rugged aircraft, so the controls are quite stiff, although we do have hydraulic assist. So today we're going to do a quick power up and departure from Reno Airport, and it'll cover the cold and dark and the takeoff especially. So the first thing I'm going to do is establish electrical power to the aircraft by selecting the external power. So we're all powered up, and now I'll just press on through my cockpit flows. So accessing the flight engineer's deck, I'm going to arm the generators, the engine driven generators, to take over once the engines have started. Also verify my battery voltage, which is above 20 volts, so we're fine. Also we can adjust our lighting as required, although the night lighting on this aircraft does look very nice. So starting with the cockpit flows, the radio rack blower should be set to norm and guarded. Engine generators have been set, all the bus ties are online. Lighting as required. Finally, our pneumatics. The recirc fan should be on when the engines are off on the ground, but I'll keep it off for the time being because it's quite loud. We can turn our packs on and low pressure pneumatic system, like so. The ram air doors can stay open until we are at cruise and manifold pressure is checked. The fuel today, we have a little bit of fuel in the center auxiliary tanks and an equal distribution in the main and alternates, which we'll go over later. Anti-icing we're not going to use today. The engine driven hydraulics, they're on. The flight data, flight voice recorder, will set on and guard the switch, and the galley power and monitor is on as well. Finally, we also want our hydraulic assist, the boost for the aileron and rudder, so we'll turn that on. Just checking the engine oil quantities and also the hydraulic quantities, all checked, set and checked. We'll use the auto shut off for the fuel system. Now coming over to the captain's side, we'll put our nav lights on. And let's put the landing lights on so you can see what's going on outside. So I'll put the ground flood on, and let's put the taxi lights on as well. Now you can actually see what's going on outside. We are parked at cargo ramp 1. And the view is spectacular. Okay, so now carrying on with our cockpit flows, we're going to set our altimeter and also ensure that our autopilot servos are on. Just checking the rest of the instruments for any flags that would indicate a malfunction. And now it is time to set up the route. So we're on the indent page, so we go to the route. We'll put in the origin airport, like so, and the destination. Setting our departure and arrival, we are departing off runway 16 right and following the SID and selecting the transition. Now going to the route, I'm going to enter in the rest of the waypoints very quickly. And finally we'll set the arrival. The following ILS 24 right and proceeding direct. Set our transition, and now we'll just verify the route. And the legs page as well. Okay, we'll activate the route, execute it, and now we'll set up our performance. Today our cruise altitude is, let us see, flight level 330. Our fuel data has already been inserted, and we'll execute this as well. And now we'll just put the FMC back to our legs page. Let's set up the map mode and set the range appropriately. You can also set runway heading, which is 167, which I'll be doing now. Okay, the runway heading is set. We can also engage our flight directors as well. And let's set our altitude alert for, let's say, 10,000 feet. Okay, let's blank out our decision height for the time being. And now finally our performance, our V speeds. So based on the SimBrief profile, which I have a V1 of 127, a rotator 141, and a V2 of 154. So let's first set our maximum airspeed, 350 knots. Then our V1, which was 127. And a rotate of 141. V2 of 154. And then a V2 plus 10 of 164. And let's finally set our flap protraction speed to about 200 knots. Okay, so we're all set, just checking the rest of the gauges. We'll gauge the standby altimeter, ensure our static system control is set to norm. Also test the landing gear horn cutoff, arm the anti-skid, do an annunciator reset, and also check the landing gear unsafe lights, which actually is modeled. Okay, just checking the first officer's side, it's all okay. And now the center pedestal. Checking the aileron and rudder trim is set to 0. Okay, we are ready then for engine start. So I'm going to turn on my main boost pumps for the purpose of engine start. And also let's turn the packs off. ensure we have enough air pressure for start. And now let's arm the ignition. Set ignition to override, which actually allows all 4 fuel switches to be in the up position. And let us start number 2. You can also put the no smoking and no seatbelt signs on.
Minimums.
Okay, engine number 2 is running. Let's start number 3. We'll still start our 2 inboard engines and then we'll do a pushback. Let's also start our probe heat and also set our transponder.
Minimums.
Okay, the 2 engines started. I'm now going to push back. So I'm going to set the master battery switch in the up position and disconnect all the services.
Minimums.
Okay, while we're doing the pushback, I'll start the remaining 2 engines. And let's do a flight control check. Okay, number 3 and number 4 are running. So let's dearm the ignition. Let's also set our flaps to 15 for takeoff. We can also turn our boost pumps off now that the engines are running. But for takeoff, as per the manuals, you should technically have it on. After takeoff, then we can turn them off and proceed with our fuel management. Now just a courtesy check over the rest of the instruments and panels to check if there's any issues. We can also put our packs back on. Also check the generators are running as intended and ensure they're paralleled and that the oil temperatures are checked and that the gen overload lights are out. Okay, let's stop our pushback and start to taxi towards the runway. And let's set our flight director mode to auxiliary navigation, which in this case is FMC. and set an initial pitch of, let's say, 15 degrees. Okay, turning onto the runway, I'll extend the brighter landing lights. Okay, just lining up with the runway, and now we can start the takeoff. Roll. So I'm going to engage the parking brakes. I want to do a brakes release takeoff. Just checking once again, everything is okay. And I think I won't hide the yoke. I can see the navigation display. Just adjusting the range. Okay, so I'm going to spool the engines up now. They're stable and max power. Okay, brakes release. We're accelerating. "60 knots, airspeed building. 80 knots, cost check. V1, rotate. Okay, V2, positive rate, gear up. Okay, I'll pitch now to maintain V2 plus 10 during the initial climb out. And let's set our climb thrust. And then at 10,000 feet I'll start to accelerate past 250 knots. Let's assume we've reached our acceleration height and we can now pitch to obtain 250 knots. All the while hand flying and following our LNAV path. And also let's retract our flaps. Okay, approaching 10,000 feet, I'll now start to accelerate beyond 250 knots to our climb speed of 300 knots. Okay, our first waypoint we're approaching. I'm going to start making the turn. Okay, 10,000 feet, and let's also turn off our landing lights. Let's dial in our altitude alert for flight level 330. Clearly the DC-8 does not like having to make sharp turns like this, especially on this departure, which involves quite a lot of twists and turns. Okay, now going to the fuel management section, I'm going to turn off the main boost pumps and configure the aircraft for the correct fuel management. So we're going to first draw fuel from the alternates and boost them into the mains. So to do that, we turn the alternate boost pumps on and open the fill valves, like so. We can also do so for the outboard engine since we are below 7,000 kilos. And that is the fuel management. Turning to our next waypoint. Can also turn off the fasten seatbelt signs and smoking. And also just checking the auto shut-off system. You can see that the number 4 main shut-off is still closed, so that means the quantity of the number 4 and number 1 main has not gone below 7,000 kilos. Once that happens, it will automatically open and fuel will be boosted from the number 4 and number 1 alternates into the mains. The reason for that is the aircraft's structural integrity. So let's try to see if the autopilot will engage. Right now we are wings level, and let's select auxiliary navigation. Okay, I'm disconnecting the autopilot and taking back manual control. The autopilot is clearly uber correcting to follow the LNAV path, which is resulting in rolls that are more than the aircraft's limits. So I'll have to assume manual control for the rest of the flight. We also have a little bit of fuel in the center tanks, which I want to use. So to avail of those, I'm going to move the selectors down and turn on the center wing auxiliary boost. This also, then I can also fill all the alternates, which will then eventually boost into the mains. And that is it for the flight. The rest of the flight will just be the cruise and then the descent and landing. There's nothing more that needs to be covered regarding the fuel system or the handling of the aircraft. So until next time.